All right, I'm here with Bill Nitschke, Flatland legend. We're at Battle of the Rockies 2017. I've already caught up with James McGraw and Todd Carter, so I wanted to catch up with Bill. There's a lot to talk about with Bill, and obviously I've met him a few years now. It's been awesome hanging out with this guy, so it's time to do an interview. Bill, firstly, how's it going?
Good, real good. Awesome. I mean, what else can you say?
Yeah?
Yeah, there's a lot to say. We're going to talk about it, I guess.
All right, so how old are you? How long have you been riding?
47 years, and I've been riding for, I started freestyling since it started in 80. I started in 80, but when Evel Knievel was doing wheelies, that's when I kind of got into doing wheelies. I don't know, maybe like late 70s.
Yeah.
So 78, 79, somewhere around there, I was popping wheelies. I think it was in second grade. It was either first grade the first year or second grade the first year, which was only a year. But anyway,
obviously a lot of history with
yeah.
yourself, and like I remember when I was growing up, we talked to Todd about the magazines. I would always see pictures of you in the magazines, like
That's right.
in orbit days. Like,
yeah.
Who did you grow up riding with?
From a young age, Perry Mervar for the most part. And then we had another guy that came in from Chicago. He moved down to Indy. His name was Jim Kraft, and that's the guy that made up the Jump of Doom frame standard grip ride.
Oh, okay.
That guy, originally from Chicago, but moved to Indy and made it up there in 87, or 86, 85 or 86, somewhere around then. But yeah, so I grew up pretty much with Perry Mervar at that time. Jim Crafton came in, and then Steve Mulder came in. And then there was a whole group of other riders from around Indianapolis and the surrounding areas, that would ride together. It was a big, solid group back then. There was so many riders, but as far as freestylers go, the hardcore group, for the most part, going all the way through the 80s and into the early 90s, it was me, Perry, and Steve. And that was pretty much it. We were the solid group. There were other guys. Roman Chevarelli was there. Andy Cooper was there. The guys that were, still do Flatland from Indy, that did ride with us, but wouldn't always get to ride with us all the time.
Yeah, so did you grow up riding in the AFA contest? Is that how you got into it?
Yeah, we went to, me and Perry and, I'm trying to think, Mike Phelps and maybe Steve Mulder. We all went to, and Jim Crafton, there were a few of us. We all went to the 87 AFA Masters in Columbus, Ohio. And that was the first time we really had ever seen a contest. I guess Perry was getting the magazines. He was a year older than I was, so that 1 year in our world at that age was a big advancement. So he got the magazines. That's what really got us going into it. But seeing that, that kind of took us into where we were going with everything else. So we went to the 87 Masters. We came back that winter, because that was in September usually. We came back to Indy, and we all kind of talked about it. And we're like, yo, there's a series over here, a local series in Columbus that Randy Loop, who was helping Bob Morales with run the AFA, Randy was running a local series. So we went over there, and that's where we got our start, was that winter of 87, 88. It was the local Columbus, Ohio series. So that really kind of helped us get our start. And then later on that year, in 88, that's when I went to the first Masters. And it was me, Steve, and Perry, and his dad in his Camaro. Overnight, I skipped school. We all crammed in, drove all night to Wayne, New Jersey, went there, did that. And it was pretty awesome. Remind me to tell you about Wayne, New Jersey, though, okay? I got to go back to that because it's incredible.
Okay.
So anyway, that was our first Masters. And we hit Wayne, New Jersey that year. Columbus, Ohio was right after that. And then we went to California for the finals that year. And that was pretty much how we got, it was all AFA based.
Was that the one where it got dark at the end?
89, yeah.
Yeah.
89, it was dark, yeah. But
I remember reading that in a magazine. The guys pros had to do the runs in the dark, right?
I didn't turn pro until 90, so Perry was pro at that time. But all the pro class, Dennis was there, but everybody in the pro class that finally got to ride, and when it was that dark, people were putting headlights on, whatever they could get onto the area. But every time the photographers would shoot, they would shoot flashes. Perry and Danny Ming were like, dude, we couldn't see anything, man.
Yeah.
As soon as we got flash, we couldn't see anything. But that just shows you how good those guys were, at that time to ride in that environment. So, yeah, it's pretty amazing.
So, did you Ohio as well? You mentioned that a lot already. Did you? How long did you sort of ride for before you met Todd Carter?
We met him that very winter. He was part of that series also. Everybody that was. There was a lot of Indiana riders, obviously Ohio riders, because Ohio was so big. But Randy pulled a lot of people from all over, Michigan, all over basically. But that was kind of how we got our start, was with that series. And that was when we met Todd. He was I think Todd's a few years younger than I am. But we met him through that series, not at a Masters. We actually met him through the local series. And so kind of got to know him. I pulled up a picture of Perry and Kip today. And he said, Todd goes, that's exactly how I remember those guys.
Yeah,
And it was from that series, back in that winter of '88, the earlier part of it.
So I like to ask everyone, how did you get into Flatland?
Honestly, I mean, if popping wheelies Flatland, Evel Knievel.
Yeah.
It was just that simple. Evel Knievel was like a, kind of a hero idol. I watched that guy, and he wasn't just a a motorcycle guy or whatever. Dude was a stuntman, and that's what I looked up to. And the thing that guy did before he did all those miraculous jumps was he always rode wheelies in front of, his fans. I tell kids this all the time, this story. But that was the coolest thing, I thought. For me as a kid, I couldn't jump the buses, man. I couldn't realistically do that. I was just, I was in second grade riding a bike for the first time or something, and so I couldn't do that. So I went out and I emulated him popping wheelies. And, back then we had banana seats, big old tall handlebars, and coaster brakes. No handbrakes at all. So that was getting that balance. The very first trick was a wheelie. So we learned that balance real early on. And that was, I think, honestly, kind of how I got into Flatland. Now, Perry got BMX Action a long time ago. And when we saw that magazine for the first time, we saw the BMX Action trick team in it.
Yeah.
That's what kind of did it for us. So there was a drainage ditch. Keep in mind, this is incredible. My grandparents, who I stayed with a lot when I was younger, they lived directly across the street from Perry.
Wow.
So there's the connection.
Yeah.
We used my grandparents' driveway as a runway into his runway to hit the quarter pipe all day long. So from my side to his side all day long. And that was kind of how we started watch that, or look at that magazine, see, curb endos. There was 2 drainage ditches out in front of our houses there, my grandparents and his house. So we'd go out there and learn curb endos. And back then, we only had a single pinch bolt gooseneck. That's what they call a gooseneck. And it's only a single pinch, And so every time we do that, our bars would slip forward. You have to crank them down, tighten them down. And then it started, it was BMX freestyle took over. And then, that's when bikes kind of changed also. But that was kind of how we got our start in Flatland. Just those simple things like that.
Right. You're kind of leading into my next question. I wanted to know what you think shaped your riding style. Because you have, like, we talked about this earlier, didn't we?
Wow.
You've got like a real presence when you ride. Like, it's like everyone stops and you think about the music and you think about the tone you're going to set. There's a lot of thought that goes into it, I think. So where does that come from?
I don't know. Surprisingly, I think I'm an alien. It comes from space. I don't know where it comes from. Honestly, I got to go last month to the BMX Hall of Fame ceremony for the first time, and Dave Volker got inducted this year. All right, so watching Dave over the years in the course of his career and how he inspired people and how he just motivated an audience, it's pretty overwhelming, And one of the craziest things is I don't even know if I ever watched Dave in a real live show before. Okay. And that's what's crazy. But I watched him and I was inspired by that my whole life, And one of my biggest goals was longevity in the sport and doing what I do and showing off and things like that. But I don't know, kind of watching him, that dude he doesn't pull back on the throttle when he rides. And to me, I've always rode like that. And to watch somebody else ride like that, and he was older than me and leading the way, for Dyno and all the teams he rode for, it was pretty incredible to watch him do that. And for me in Flatland or in ramps or anything else, I just watched that and I thought that was really cool, but I wasn't emulating him. I was just being me as a stuntman on a bike.
Yeah.
I was just trying to go as big and burly as I can. Because, when I was a kid growing up, I didn't consider myself a BMXer or a freestyler or anything like that. I was a stuntman, know. By second and third grade, I was already climbing on second story roofs, jumping off those first story roofs from the roof, and it was pretty amazing the things I was doing at a young age. So the bike just kind of allowed me to do something else and have a lot more freedom to do the stunts I wanted. And that was kind of, I don't know, I kind of just, if I can go out and really blow minds, that's what I want to do. And that just seems to kind of happen. I don't expect it to happen. When I go out and ride, and this is, I think this kind of maybe blows people's minds, but in contests, I've really never planned runs. I've never really ever planned runs. I just go out there and ride and do whatever comes to mind right away. And the fact that I'm pinning it to win it, full throttle and everything and just keeping that pace going, I don't know what it is. Doing shows my whole life, that helps. But there's a whole different level of doing shows than there is, in contests. It's a different game, And you got to step it up in the contest. Show is a show. You're showing off. You're doing some easy tricks. You're consistent. You're having a blast. And that, I guess, comes out in me in the contest. But even before that ever really got to where it is now with shows, the contests that I went to, even when I went out there, I would do tricks I've never done before in contests, you know, and it would just happen, or something crazy would happen. And I didn't expect to do it. It wasn't planned. And that just happens when I go out and ride. And I think that's the best part about it. I consider myself more of a freestyler than, you know, a contest rider or a show rider or anything like that, or a flatland or a ramp rider. I've ridden everything my whole life. And I think everything that I've ridden has helped to shape me in what I ride.
Yeah.
So it's not just flatland that I throw that aggression. I throw it in anything I do. I just have to gear it more towards flatland now because of injuries.
So, if you're listening at home, Bill Nitschke invented the Whopper, what is now known as the hot whip, bunny hot whip, whatever you want to call it. Give us some background into the Whopper. Like,
all right,
how old were you? Like, start from the beginning.
All right, this is pretty cool. In Indy, we had a pretty good group of riders at this time. This is 89. All right, so once in a while we'd have a jam and kind of get together with everybody, and everybody from around, you know, all the counties and everything would come together, and we'd all ride. And this one day we were in Indianapolis riding at the spot we always rode at, which was Drug Emporium for a long time. We made those are roots right there, Drug Emporium. So we're all riding, it's getting dark, and there's so many of us that on the side of the building that we rode on, the strip was only so wide. It was pretty wide, but there were so many of us that we went out into the upper part of the parking lot. And it was nighttime, and for some reason, I just bunny hopped and threw a tail whip. And this is in the summer of '89, all right? And I didn't think anything about it. And the funny thing is that the footage that's in Straight Out of Indy, that very same day, there's actually, I don't know if it's in that video or not, but there's actually footage of me doing that for the first time. Just kind of messing around with it. And I didn't think too much about it, you know, and then I started learning tail whips, flyouts over in orbit on the mini ramp. And once I learned that, I kind of started going back to working on a bunny hop tail whip. And fast forward a whole year to the summer of 1990 now, we're over at a whole new spot. It's in a parking lot that's right next to Burger King. And it's a Kroger parking lot with a strip mall attached to it. And there's Burger King right here. So we ride in this spot. We've been riding this spot for almost nearly a year now, since the end of the last year and going into this year into 1990. So we're riding there one night, and I'm working on it. And Perry, when I talked to Perry last, he said he was pushing me to do this because I had to remember back to this. But Perry was pushing me to do it. He's like, dude, you got this, man. You're so close. You're so close. And so that one night, I hit it. And immediately following that, he's like, dude, we freaked out. I mean, we couldn't believe it. It was just, you know, that was the summer of 90, so I was only 19 then. I was getting ready to turn 20. And I was I just graduated. So he looks at me, he's like, dude, we got to give this a name. He's like, we got to give this a big name. And we looked over, you know, and it says home of the Whopper right there on Burger King's thing. And he goes, dude, Whopper. And so Perry really kind of helped name that trick.
Yeah.
So that was why it was called a Whopper. It was just what was right there. And that's what's so crazy. I tell kids all the time, it's like, or anybody, it's like, the coolest thing about making up a trick is that you get to name it. You can name anything you want, you know? And we think about names and how they come up with them. And it's like, it could be something as simple as you're riding in a parking lot, you do a big trick, it's a Whopper of a trick. That sandwich is a Whopper. They named it that because it's a Whopper. It's meant to be big. And it turned out to be a big trick, you know? I didn't know it. I didn't realize it. It was just something else I was doing. I was inventing all kinds of tricks.
Were you doing any other hop tricks, bunny hop tricks at that time? I always wondered that.
No, not really. I mean, you know, I could always 180 and, you know, things like that. And shortly after that, I was doing backwards 360s a long time ago. But not a whole lot of bunny hop tricks really at that time. Yeah. I mean, it just wasn't. Street riding, yes. Like fakie wall ride, you bunny hop into that and you come off. I could do that.
So what was the first contest you did a Whopper in? Was it that ride one?
Yeah, that was that ride one.
Big Kearney one.
So I hit it for the first time in January, or in the summer of '90. All right. Fast forward, Perry and I move out to R.L. Osborne's house in Redondo Beach, California. Chase is out there, so we're riding, and we're hanging out at his place. And Pete Kearney is having a contest. We drove out on New Year's night of 1991. All right. So we're at RL's, and 12 days later, Pete Kearney's having that. I think it was 12 days later. I can't remember. But anyways, right there at the 1st of January, he has that ride contest. And we're having a great time that day. But the crazy thing was, the night before, we've been riding all day out by Redondo Beach at the spot. And I got a sinus infection or something like that. Drank a bottle of NyQuil the night before. Knocked me out. Woke up the next day and felt great. Kind of like that wah, wah, wah in your head. But it felt great. And so I rode that whole day. not real good in practice. But again, I don't win the practice, man. That's not me.
Yeah.
When contest time came, again, man, something clicks, snaps, whatever, and just pin it and go, and whatever happens, happens. And I can't even remember if I was going to throw it in that run or not, but I did. And I happened to do it right in front of the Dirt Brothers. Brad Blanchard was right there.
Say that. Yeah.
Dude, that guy, wow. I mean, if that guy had rockets in his shoes, he would have went to the moon. That dude flipped out more than I did, or anybody else. It blew his mind, and I did it right in front of him. And it was that was the first time I did it in a contest. The coolest part about it is that I don't think I did it until the contest. I don't think I even tried it until the contest.
That doesn't surprise me, Bill.
So I did that, but I think what the coolest thing is that Spike Jonze was still shooting photography and freestyle then.
Okay.
And he was there, and he's the one that actually shot that sequence of me in Ride magazine, doing that for the very first time. So he's the one that actually documented that, in print, and got it there. So that was pretty impressive, because otherwise you might have seen it on a VHS, full-size VHS tape in somebody's basement somewhere eventually.
Reality TV.
If you're somewhere, something like that, yeah, but but
that's how I saw it.
Yeah, but that was pretty much how it was done the first time in the contest. So that was January of '91.
All right, so it kind of leads on to my next question as well. Competing for a long time, what are some of your favourite memories from competing?
Wow.
That could be a story or whatever.
Yeah, every contest was fun. I mean, there wasn't. It's kind of hard to say if one stands out more than the other one, because every time you go to a contest, we went there to see what was new, what was fresh, and to ride with all the guys that were right there at the top level. I got to say that when I got picked up by Haro, getting flown out for the Two Hip Mission Trails Dirt Contest, and then Meet the Street and the Vert Contest, which actually just turned into a jam. But I rode in pro in Dirt and in Meet the Street Meet the Street contest.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
For the very first time, and placed pretty good in both. Coming in as a flatlander, people only knew me as a flatlander, for Haro.
Yeah, Kevin Jones used to, didn't he? Enter Meet the Street.
Yeah, and it's pretty crazy.
Mark
so
as well.
But that very same contest, what was really cool about that was everybody's like, "Yo, who's this flatland dude riding dirt?" And I was the very first person to do a tail whip on doubles on dirt in competition.
Wow.
That's another one. So that was a cool contest. All the Rampage series, man. The Rampage series were huge, honestly, because if we didn't have those, that wouldn't have formed who I am. I lived in Rampage for 6 months in that bowling alley, and to walk out of my bedroom and have a skate park at my disposal 24/7 was incredible. So that was something really cool. That allowed me to ride anytime I wanted.
Yeah.
And I could ride flat, I could ride mini, and we were leading the charge in mini and all the street stuff that was going, all the tech stuff. Because of the flatland background, we could charge in that. And those contests, everybody came to those contests because there really wasn't a whole lot going on until Matt Hoffman got things going on with all the B3 series and things. So those were the underground series that everybody went to, and it was only one location. Those are incredible. Obviously the AFA series that kind of got it going, that was amazing. I mean, if I didn't have that to go back to, I wouldn't be where I am now. That competition kind of put my riding to another level, because being able to handle the pressure in competition is huge. You can see when people can handle it, when they can't.
Yeah.
And that's a big difference. The confidence in going out there and knocking out whatever you want to do whenever you want to do it is pretty impressive when you see somebody do that. And then when you see somebody overthinking it, you can tell. And it's pretty obvious. So contests, man, I mean, everyone's been pretty fun. All the play contests, those were good. Gosh, man. Matt Hoffman put on a lot of great contests. I mean, I can't think of one that really does stand out. Going to the Bronx, Meet the Street out there, that was incredible. We stayed out at Eaton's house. All of us were riding, all the hoods together. There was a Your Jam then. I think that was 91. We went to Reading Skate Park. But the Meet the Street, that was incredible. That was awesome. I rode without a shirt that day, by the way. Talking about people riding without shirts today,
Yeah.
Watching Pete Brandt. But I rode without a shirt in that contest, and I was riding for Haro. I'm sure they really appreciated that. But
was Haro your first sponsor?
No, going back to
Hal Brindley's thing.
Yeah. It's my first pro sponsor was 2B. So thanks Hal, thanks Steve. I appreciate that. If you guys still want to make a new press or something, make that gold rope chain with the big 2B logo on it, hand paint that hat. That was pretty cool when we did that day. Send that to me. That'd be cool. That was my favorite. Dude, it was a white.
I remember,
white T-shirt with just a gold painted chain.
That, yeah.
And Hal, he painted all that himself.
I used to exchange zines with him.
Yeah. So he paid for my first contest entry. He's like, dude. He's like, you got to ride for us or something like that. You know, I can't remember how it went. He probably remembers. But he paid for my entry fee, and I was like, whoa. These guys are paying for my entry fee. You know, it was a whole nother level of the game. I just turned pro, and this dude's paying for my stuff, and I got to wear his T-shirt.
What year did you turn pro?
I think it was 90. Yeah, it was 90.
And
yep,
when did you start riding street?
When I was a kid.
So you from the get-go?
From the get-go, jumping curbs, just riding dirt hills, anything we could do. That was just it. We didn't consider it freestyle or BMX. We were just riding bikes.
Yeah.
You know, the magazines deemed it that because of what it was. We just were kids on bikes doing what we saw happening. You know.
That's right.
Yeah, that was it. A curb was there. From the earliest stages, man, I cannot wait. I got the BillNitschke.com website getting ready to go up, and it's going to show a lot of things. But one of the coolest things was, you know, when you're a kid, you start out with a brick on the ground, you know, and you bunny hop it, or you try to get over it, or you know, you do the brick in the board. That was kind of how it started out, just things like that, things we had laying around. One day, my driveway was empty, with nothing in it. A basketball goal at the end. It was a nice long driveway. My parents left for that day. They came back, and there was a 7-foot tall quarter pipe in there, all nailed together. And it was the old school kind where like the 2x4s were nailed like this together, you know, kind of overlapping. No plywood transitions cut, all nails. They came home and they freaked out, but we didn't tear it down, so that was kind of cool.
So what year did you get involved with Standard Bykes?
All right, Pulse Products, my first company, started in '89, and then by going into the winter of, when was it? Fall of '91, I think it was.
So would it have been like, it was after.
Fall of '91.
It's after that ride contest.
Yep, after the ride contest. We were coming up on winter, and Rick said, hey man, because we were all riding for Haro at the time, Rick said, hey, why don't you come out here, you know, and just move into Rampage, just live here. And I was just floored, man. Think about it. Not even like 10 months before, I'm living at R.L. Osborne's house in California. Being able to go out there and ride outside in California for the winter, you know? And then fast forward to the next winter coming up, and I've been offered a place to stay for free at Rampage and to ride there all winter, you know? And again, ramps, flatland, everything, and it's indoors. It was Iowa, of course, man. There's not a lot out there, you guys. But either way, all you needed was a skate park and a bike, and that was it. So that allowed me to do a lot. Yeah, I don't know.
Did you ride more like skate park stuff?
I rode everything. That was just it. What I did early on in the day was ride flatland, and then I rode street or park later on that night. That was just kind of how I had to do it, because you exert a lot more energy riding park than you do riding flatland. And I could be conservative and consistent with flatland throughout the day and just push it without beating myself up, you know, and slamming on the ground, you know.
Yeah.
Later on at night, we'd put in a session, see how far we could go. But, yeah, I mean, it's just...
How long were you involved with Standard for?
Oh yeah, so going into Standard, I'm living there in Rampage, and that winter Rick comes up to me. You know, I'm running Pulse Products. It's doing great. I'm living on that. I mean, I'm living on my bike company. I'm second year into it, or I'm third year into it now. And he had a frame idea, and that was kind of how that started that winter. We went to Haro, gave them an offer. Apparently, he gave an offer. They didn't go for it. It wasn't much money. And so we branched off and started Standard, and that was, we debuted that January of '92 at the Jeff Phillips Skate Park, the first Hoffman contest down there, which coincidentally, Hoffman also debuted his company that same contest. So that was a real branching out, because all the Haro riders had split Haro, two big entities that, you know, branched off and did their own thing. Yeah. And really, at that time, honestly, they were getting ready to take over the industry and change it. And so that was pretty cool. That was kind of how that, you know, sparked and how that started. So
how long were you involved with Standard for?
Only a year.
Yeah. And then what happened after that?
After that, I left, pulled out like the cold steel with the Mayflowers in the middle of the night, dropped everything, said, screw it, I'm out of here. Went back to Indy, kind of rethought about what I was doing, you know, and what I was going to do, you know, moving forward now, and how I was going to, you know, kind of continue with what I wanted to do with my riding, with, you know, if I wanted to do another business. After that whole deal, I was burnt on doing anything in the industry with the business. Obviously, I don't want to quit riding or anything like that. That didn't do anything. That didn't affect anything. But it really let me down after that. So I moved back to Indy. I think it was the fall of '92, winter of '92. Moved back there, and just kind of didn't really want to do too much, man. And then homeless. I got picked up by homeless right away, which was just. It's amazing, man, how people kind of came out and helped out, and supported me when I was kind of down at my most, and so that was cool. Homeless helped out, and then I'm trying to think. I don't think it was too long after, but everybody was encouraging me to start another company, and it didn't take that long. And by I think it was '93 or '94, I started Indy Industries and started making pegs and other things again. So I was kind of back on it, and kind of going from there again, and that was kind of how it went. And then the industry kind of took a dive, as far as the guys that were dominating, the American-made companies were being dominated now by companies going overseas and making things for half the price, and then selling back over here. So at that point, the business wasn't the main reason that I'm in riding at all. Yeah. I did that because that was something that needed to be done, and that's the only reason I do that. If something needs to be done, I'm going to do it. That's the only reason I'm going to do it. But my main focus was always riding, and that's where I wanted to stay. And so basically Indy Industries, I did things a little bit, for a while, for several years, and then I kind of let that fade because the industry is kind of fading in to where anything American-made that was a higher priced item, we were just sitting on it. So I made small runs of everything, so I didn't sit on hardly anything. So it was no big deal for me to just stop production on anything, and I could sit on a few things or I could sell it. What I do have now is desirable because I didn't make that many of every run. So there's
it was niche.
Everything
collectibles.
Every time I did a new run of something, I seriously I changed something in it almost every time in almost everything I made to make it better. So, but again, at that point, that was taking up more time from my riding, and so I kind of pulled back from the business again and then focused more on riding.
Yeah.
Shows have always been there, but contests, I faded from contests after '95. My last one was in '98. It was a park contest in Disney, but kind of got away from the drama in the contest, and that's why I faded from that.
Yeah, but you've always kept riding the whole time?
Always kept riding the whole time. I've never quit.
Yeah.
I've never quit, man. The longest breaks I've ever had were due to injuries.
Yeah.
From riding. And usually it's, hey, I rolled my ankle, duct tape it, put an air cast on it, put the high tops on, wrap them up, put some more duct tape on it, and you got to show tomorrow morning at 8 a.m.
Wow.
And so I've never quit riding, and I'm proud of that. That's the greatest thing, man. I can look back and say, I never quit, took a break, wonder what I was going to do with my life, and thought, maybe I'll go back and give riding a chance. I never thought like that. Riding was the only thing that I ever wanted, and it was the only thing I ever went after, and that's the only thing I've ever had.
So when you stopped competing, did you take that show rider slant to your career? Because what year did you start becoming a show rider?
1984.
Oh wow! So
yeah, that was time. See, I've done shows every year of my life since 1984. So
I mean, as a job, like fully, like no
as a job,
just shows.
I mean, it's always been part of. In riding, anything I do is part of the job. So if I'm doing the business, that's part of it. If I'm making money, it's part of it. And I mean, the first time I ever got paid was in the, mid later part of 86 maybe. I think by 86 I started making money riding. Yeah. But I did my first shows in 84. So by 86 I was making money. And obviously by the time I moved out and went, West Coast, shows, contests, the business, all of it together, 89, 90. Wow. I was making a full-blown living by 89. And I was still in school.
That's sick.
I still made, and yeah, that was cool. What was cool, here's the best part. When I did Pulse Products, by the time I really got my first car that was mine, I can say it was mine, I sold it to start Pulse Products. I sold my car for $950 to start Pulse Products.
Wow.
So, and I was 19 years old, I think.
Yeah.
No, I was still 18 maybe. 18 or 19.
So, fast forward to modern day era, would it be fair to say that AFA contest coming back brought you back to the contest scene?
Yeah, that was huge. What was kind of, I don't know, yes, AFA brought me back for sure. But what's even crazier was the timing and the AFA coming back and me wanting to start competing again. At the time that happened, I had no idea that James was starting the AFA. But months before that, a few months before that, I said my riding was starting to really progress again, and I was starting to put more time and effort into it. Not that I haven't, but when you're doing shows, you have a family of 4. You know, I got 4 kids. When you have all that going on and you're running your own business, you don't have a lot of time to ride like you used to when you're younger. So with all that going on, man, it was just crazy. It was just crazy. God, I lost my train of thought where I was going there. There's so much to tell you. What were you saying?
So, like, AFA bringing you back and
Yes.
competing again?
Yes. I want to compete. I have no idea James is going to put the AFA together. And out of nowhere, I don't know where I saw it. I heard about it somewhere that he was doing the AFA, and I got a hold of him. I was like, dude, what's going on? I was like, are you doing the AFA? Really? And he told me all about it. I said, you know what's crazy is I wanted to start competing again this year. And that is, honest to God truth, that happened. That's how it happened. I wanted to compete again, and I knew I was going to. I started looking at all the contests that was going on, and boom, there it was. The AFA pops up. James is going to start the AFA again. And James and I go way back. I support James. We've been friends for a long time, 30 years this year, I think. So with that being said, yes, the AFA really helped to kind of inspire me to get back into really competing again. And I only did it as fun. That's all I wanted to do it for. I did some other series, other things also, but the AFA, I've hit every one of them since he started.
Yeah.
I haven't missed one. So
That's awesome.
I'm supporting that, you know, because American Flatland needs to build. When we're going to these contests, there aren't a lot of young kids like there were when I was talking about earlier when Todd Carter and I met for the first time. Those local series, those are huge. We need to build a local series to start that so we can build on and add that to the bigger series. Yeah. But it starts there, you know, you got to start somewhere. So we want to pull more in, but definitely the AFA series has helped me boost my riding back to the level that it's getting to again, for sure. That's the last 2 years, you know. I did old school last year and then went back to the pro class this year. So yeah, it definitely helped me out. If we didn't have the AFA, I would have had a few here, there, a few there, but nothing consistent, you know, where I would have been happy with something. The series was fun, man. It gives you something to shoot for, and that's the fun thing about it. You know, it's got to be fun. You know, I mean, if I'm going there just to, I got to beat this guy. You know, this is my only goal. It's not enjoyable. No. You know, it's got to be fun. So that's what I want it to be when I go and compete.
So Battle in the Rockies 2017. Hung out here from Wednesday to Saturday. Didn't do one Whopper, and then you throw. He threw this Whopper that's like 3 feet, and travels at least 10 feet. And you look directly at me like how on earth does that happen?
I don't know.
Talk about the aura you set when you compete. I think, is music a big part of it?
Yeah, that's a huge part of it. And that's a huge part of it. Music is a big part of my riding. It always has been. Something has to motivate you, and for me, it's music when I'm riding. When I was younger, anger motivated me, and then the music kind of took over that. You know, I could kind of forget about the anger and focus more on the music and that rage in the music, and I could feel that. And you start get going, and you know, people are watching you, and they kind of start get going, and I start grinning, you know, and it's like, yeah, all right, here we go. You guys want some of this, don't you? You have no idea what I'm going to do you? Neither do I. That's the best part about it. And then the music starts cranking up, and I don't know what's coming on, because usually I don't pick it. I'm just like, hey, I want this
so you
or
don't
this.
Pick it?
Not always, no.
Oh, okay.
No, and that's just like the tricks. I don't pick. You know, it's if we have a DJ, I tell him, hey, man, this is what I want. This is how I ride. You put those two together. You do your job. I'll do mine, and we're gonna have a blast. And everybody's gonna be like, yeah. And so that's kind of how it happens. Sometimes I pick it if it's one of those things where nobody's DJing or just somebody doesn't have something, or I have the opportunity to do it, or if we have service and we can do it, you know. But usually music is the biggest motivator for me. Back in the day, we were talking about this earlier. Back in the day, I think I got beat by the judges because of my music choice, because it was so hardcore back then. I got beat by some UB40 back in the day. Perry Merver, I'd ride to it. I rode a Motorhead. He's riding a UB40, man. Parents of the judges, who do you think's going to win? Perry's got awesome tricks. I'm joking, man. But music, yeah, it's got a huge part, in my role and what I do. And when it starts cranking up and that beat's going and I'm riding to it and it's fast, it's not speed metal fast. It's metal fast. I like
Metallica.
That. Yeah, Metallica, Volbeat. I've listened to Volbeat for a long time. Their music is incredible, and I love their music. And this year, and the last couple of years, in competition, it's been mostly Metallica and Volbeat going back and forth, you know, and trying to find new songs and what haven't I ridden to before, whatever, you know, what haven't I ridden to? What's going to be good? What's going to sound good? I want it all to sound good. I mean, when I go out there and ride, it's a production. You know, I mean, it is me, it's the music, but I want everybody involved in what I do when I ride because that makes it fun for everybody. And when they're having fun, it pushes me to have fun and do more than I can.
So you get in a rhythm, the music's blazing. How did you find it doing a battle format where you got to stop, start, stop, start? Does that affect Bill Nitschke?
I haven't battled a lot, so I don't think anything's going to affect me now.
Did you find it hard?
Not at all. I think this past contest when I battled Tyler, the problem was I didn't know how to, you know, I didn't know we were tied for that, and we were gonna have to do a runoff. And so I was kind of like, all right, I'm done. You know, I kind of relaxed a little bit and cooled down, and I wasn't worked up or anything, and relaxed. And hey, we're having a battle we're having a runoff right now. And so I jumped back in there, and I wasn't warmed up yet. So the battle format's not gonna bother me at all because growing up with Perry and Steve.
It was like a jam circle, yeah.
It was a jam circle, you know, and we go out and we boom, 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 boom. We didn't go out and do 3-minute combos. We go out and do what I still kind of do today. It's just boom and I'm out, boom and I'm out, you know, or a couple tricks or a few tricks and I'm out. So we didn't spend a whole lot of time. So that is absolutely no problem for me. I'm probably even stronger doing something like that. But I don't know. I might even be stronger because of my endurance. If we ran, I was not joking around about 4-minute runs when James started the AFA to really push some of these guys to see what they're made of.
Yeah.
You know, 3 minutes and these guys are sucking wind pretty hard. They're doing some hard stuff. Don't get me wrong. They're doing hard stuff, but you know how it is. You push it and it makes you better. You push it and it makes you better. So it's just one of those things where I can go out there and run 3 minutes at my pace, and you know how fast I ride. Whether I'm doing a bunch of tricks, I'm still moving. And I still have to keep that pace.
Yeah, I can't get over that Whopper. I just can't get over it. It was so big.
All right. So I'm practicing, getting warmed up, and I'm thinking to myself, the last few contests, or the last couple contests or whatever, I've done it, and I've hit it in there, and I've pulled it, and it was usually first or second try. And so this time I thought, usually I did it in the end of my runs. When I'm tired, when I'm totally exhausted and still pulled it. So I thought, all right, this contest, what if I just throw it out there right away? And I thought about that, and I was like, well, we'll see what happens. Because I don't know what I'm going to do either. Not until I get out there. I mean, you could look at me and give me some goofy look or say something or just, and I would think of something totally different than what I was going to plan on doing if I was planning on doing anything for a first trick. Usually I kind of plan a first trick, but then sometimes I don't. It's just kind of, where are we, what's going on? But it's about me. It's not about, I'm not trying to ride against anybody else. So I ride out there. I get introduced. James is introducing me, I think it was. And I kind of probably looked up at you guys, you know, to acknowledge you guys as judges. I try to acknowledge everybody. Yeah. When I'm riding around, I'm looking at everybody in the audience or all the riders, everybody, you know, just grinning at them, you know, like, okay, here it comes. You guys know it's coming. Something's coming. And a lot of times nobody knows what I'm going to do. You know, like I said, I don't know.
Because you don't know, so how?
Because I don't know.
Yeah.
What am I? You know, I'm just gonna ride, see what happens. So I roll past you guys, circle back down here, and James is at the other end, kind of off this side. Kind of, I'm circling like this, and I ride by him and I go, "Hey man, if I hit this, you're gonna be stoked." And I grinned at him and I laughed, and he looked at me, man. He smiled back, and I circled around, and I went right at you.
You did.
I went right at you guys. And I took off, man. And if you notice,
so far, I can't get over it. Seriously, I'm used to park guys doing it and they travel a foot.
Yeah.
You travel 10 foot.
If you
noticed, hauling ass.
If you noticed on that one, okay, compared to the ones I've done, like
it was dead straight.
Well, and not only that, but people mentioned that like the last few I've done, I've been sitting down and I go right from the seat. I was standing up on that one.
You were.
And I was moving. That is the fastest one.
You could have cleared a fun box. It was that big.
That is the fastest one I've ever done. That was by far and away. That was the best Whopper I've ever done in my life, man. So yeah, when I did that, I came right out at you guys, man, and circled. And I mean, I just leaned back. I don't know what I did. I don't know what I did. I lose my mind when that happens, and then it just build on that and keep going.
These moments are what makes Flatland contests great.
Yeah.
To me, you take that home. I won't forget it for sure.
Yeah, I won't either.
So, 2017's done, contest season. What are your plans for next year?
If it's possible to do more than what I did this year, I'm going to try. I'm going to try and get out of the States, go overseas, do some contests over there. There's a lot. There's so much to do, and that's the best part about it. Everything I've done so far has been on me. I've had Mass Blast Plant help out, a little bit here and there. Not much. I mean, I still have to get to all these. There's so much involved in that. And if I can get to any contest, I'll go to it. I don't care. If there's a way that I can get to it, I'll show up. There's no reason for me not to be at your contest, other than I can't afford to get there, And this year, I'm not kidding you. I was still joking. Every time we talk about a story that happened, seems like 5 years ago, it was 2 months ago, or 3 or 4 months ago. Or I had that injury, whoa, that was just 6 months ago. Oh, yeah. And so basically, 2017 has seemed like 5 years worth of stuff all in this year, and we still have another month and a half to go.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's next. We got 6 weeks to go until the new year, and then everything starts over again. So there's really not a break in anything right now.
No.
And that's what's cool. So, I mean, it's back to Indy, and then...
Do you have a winter spot? Or?
Yeah, the garage.
Yeah.
Mulder's garage is pretty good. He's got a huge garage. The problem with him is he only rides a little bit at a time, and trying to get my schedule and his schedule to jive and get together, it's hard. So I keep my garage clear. It's a 20 by 20 garage, but realistically I have about maybe 15 by 15 feet at best to ride in. So it's not big. So when you're watching that footage of me in garage sessions with GoPro, it looks gigantic, but when you guys see that, I'm literally scraping the garage walls, the garage doors, and everything else. I'm hitting things on the wall.
Yeah.
I'm right on those. When I'm going against the wall, I'm going at an angle where my bars won't hit, and I can squeeze my wheel into the crease of it to get as much out of it as I can on turns. Like G-turns or 180s or something, I'll roll at an angle so my bars won't hit. If I'm straight up, it'll hit. If I'm angling like this, I can get all the way into the crease so I can maximize as much area in that garage as possible.
Wow.
It's just from growing up riding in basements and garages, all these years. And that's, you got to kind of overcome and adapt to what you have, and what environment you can ride in. So yeah, it's basically small areas right now. Unless we do shows, then I have the whole gym.
Yeah.
And that's great. Not for a long time, but for a little while. And, you get to do some riding in there. I get to go to the Fort Wayne Indoor Skate Park, ride there whenever I want. So that helps out.
That's awesome. Any kind of final thanks once we wrap this up, Bill? It's been awesome catching up with you.
Yeah. Good times. I want to thank anybody?
Yeah.
Everybody. Hey, if you guys have ever had anything to do with helping me out, all the way back into school when I would ask you for spare change for lunch because I'd spent my lunch money on bike parts, thank you very much. Everybody that worked at bike shops that helped me learn how to work on bikes so I could work on my own bikes, unlike Steve Mulder, that's a BAM! That's a good one. You're going to love that, Steve. Kip Williamson at Master Blaster Planet, all my sponsors, like I said, Hal Brindley, Steve Budendeck, Haro, Currents, the list goes on and on. Wow, everybody, my parents, you guys, Flatmatters, everybody I've ridden with, everybody that rides with me, everybody that's inspired by me, everybody that wishes me well when I go to contests or anything like that, I appreciate that. Everybody that's helped me out in any way, I truly greatly appreciate it. Anybody that's going to help me out in the future to get me to your event, thank you very much in advance. I'll see you when I see you there. Like I said, I'm trying to get to Europe. I want to get over there. I want to get to Asia. I want to get to a lot of places. Guys, you need to get me there. That's the best part about it. I'm not done. 47, fun's still on. So I want to ride with you guys. I'm sure you guys want to ride with me because the energy level does go up when I ride. And that's the best part about it. So
it's amazing. I've never seen anything like it. There's only one thing left to say. Guess what it is?
Yeah! Woo!